Dr. Eriksson, an experienced glaciologist, had spent years studying the icy depths of Antarctica. But one chilling day, as he stood near a massive hole in a glacier, he heard an eerie sound echoing from within. His curiosity got the better of him, and he peered into the darkness. What he saw moving deep inside the frozen abyss made his blood run cold. Dr. Eriksson hesitated, but finally decided to descend into the glacier using his climbing gear. His hands trembled slightly as he secured his harness and ropes.
"I'm doing this,"
he whispered to himself. Step by step, he lowered himself into the icy abyss. Each creak of the glacier felt like a warning, but his determination to uncover the source of the sound pushed him onward. The eerie sound continued to echo, growing louder as he made his way down. It was almost as if the glacier itself was alive, whispering secrets from its ancient past. He paused for a moment, listening intently.
"What is that?"
he wondered aloud. The sound seemed to come from all directions, making it hard to pinpoint its source. But there was no turning back now. He landed on a narrow ledge and noticed peculiar ice formations that resembled ancient carvings. The patterns were intricate, almost like a language he couldn't understand.
"This can't be natural,"
he muttered. His fingers traced the carvings, feeling their cold, sharp edges. A mix of awe and unease washed over him. The discovery was both fascinating and unsettling. His flashlight revealed a narrow tunnel further along the ledge. The tunnel's entrance was partially obscured by icicles that hung like frozen daggers. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. The tunnel seemed to beckon him, promising answers but also dangers.
"Let's see what's inside,"
he said, his voice echoing softly. He began to move cautiously towards the entrance, his senses heightened. Debating whether to radio for support, he opted to explore the tunnel for any signs of movement. The thought of calling for help tugged at him, but he was too intrigued to stop now.
"Just a quick look,"
he decided. The tunnel seemed to close in around him, the walls cold and unyielding. Each step echoed, a constant reminder of how alone he was in this icy labyrinth. Inside the tunnel, Dr. Eriksson found remnants of what appeared to be old scientific equipment. Rusted metal fragments and glass tubes were scattered across the icy floor. He knelt down, brushing away layers of frost. "These look ancient," he said, astonished. The equipment was frozen in time, relics of a bygone era. Who had been here before him? The mystery deepened with every discovery. Though covered in ice and frost, their design was unmistakably advanced for their time. The craftsmanship and materials were beyond anything he had seen in historical records.
"This must be decades, maybe centuries old,"
he thought. He examined a piece more closely, noting the intricate details. Whatever research had been conducted here, it was far ahead of its time. The implications were staggering. He photographed the equipment for documentation, feeling an inexplicable connection to the unknown scientists who had been there before. Each click of the camera captured a fragment of history.
"They were pioneers,"
he mused. The photographs would serve as evidence for his report. The more he discovered, the more questions arose. As he moved deeper, he noticed a faint, shimmering blue light emanating from within the glacier walls. The glow was mesmerizing, cutting through the darkness like a beacon. What could be causing this? He wondered. The light seemed almost otherworldly, casting eerie shadows on the tunnel walls. Intrigued and cautious, he inched closer, drawn toward the mysterious radiance that seemed to defy the icy environment. Could this be natural, or something more extraordinary? The question gnawed at him as he stared at the mysterious blue light. Dr. Eriksson's mind raced through possibilities, some rational, others bordering on fantastical. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery. His pulse quickened as he contemplated his next move. He decided to follow the light, even as the eerie sounds grew more intense, almost guiding him forward. Each step was deliberate, his senses on high alert.
"This better be worth it,"
he thought. The blue glow brightened, casting surreal shadows on the walls. The tunnel twisted and turned, leading him deeper into the frozen labyrinth. He moved cautiously, aware that danger could lurk around every corner. News of Dr. Eriksson's unexpected descent reached his research team at the base camp. Sarah, the team leader, stared at the radio in disbelief. "He went in alone? Why didn't he wait for us?" she exclaimed. The other team members exchanged worried glances. The situation was more serious than they had anticipated. They quickly understood the urgency and began to mobilize, each member knowing their role in the rescue operation. Concerned for his safety, they scrambled to get a rescue operation underway. "We need to act fast," Sarah urged, her voice filled with determination. The team members hurriedly gathered climbing gear, thermal suits, and emergency medical supplies. Communication channels were established, and they attempted to contact Dr. Eriksson. "Eriksson, come in! Do you read me?" Sarah called out, hoping for a quick response. Time was ticking, and every second mattered. The team set up communication equipment to try and establish contact with him. Antennas were raised, radios were calibrated, and satellite links were tested. "Eriksson, this is base camp. Please respond," Sarah repeated, her voice steady but strained. Static filled the airwaves, the only response a cold, unfeeling silence. They couldn't afford to lose hope. "Keep trying," she commanded. Every tick of the clock felt like it stretched into eternity. Meanwhile, Dr. Eriksson navigated treacherous ice pathways, finding footprints that seemed to stop abruptly.
How is this possible?
He wondered aloud, inspecting the prints closely. The tracks were fresh, suggesting someone else had ventured here recently. His mind raced with possibilities, none of them comforting. He felt a chill, not from the cold, but from the uncertainty that lay ahead. He was getting deeper into uncharted territory.
Could someone else have been there recently?
The idea gnawed at him as he scanned the area for more clues.
Who else would dare to come here?
He questioned. The silence around him offered no answers, only the unsettling echoes of his own inquiries. He pushed forward, even as the mystery deepened. Each step took him closer to answers, but also closer to potential peril. There was no turning back. A sudden tremor caused by shifting ice nearly trapped him, but he managed to find a narrow escape route leading to a previously unknown cavern. Ice and snow crashed around him, narrowly missing his path. That was close, he panted, steadying himself. The new cavern loomed before him, its entrance dark and foreboding. He gulped down his fear and stepped inside, driven by curiosity and a sense of impending discovery. Within the cavern, Dr. Eriksson found a series of enigmatic symbols carved into the ice. They lined the walls, forming intricate patterns that seemed to tell a story. He approached cautiously, examining each symbol. "What do these mean?" he murmured. The symbols were unlike anything he had ever seen, raising more questions than answers. The atmosphere grew thick with an ancient, unspoken mystery. He catalogued the symbols, but understood none of their meanings. His camera clicked repeatedly, capturing each mysterious carving.
These could be key to something,
he thought. Carefully, he documented every detail, aware that these symbols held secrets of the glacier's past. His scientific mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzle. Yet, the fragments refused to align, leaving him in a fog of confusion and anticipation for what lay ahead. The sound, now more pronounced, reverberated through the cave, bouncing off the carvings. Each echo felt like a whisper from another time, almost guiding him. "This is unreal," Dr. Eriksson muttered, his breath visible in the cold air. The sound seemed to pulse with a life of its own, urging him forward. He glanced around, trying to locate its origin, but found himself spiraling deeper into the mystery. Following the sound, he discovered an icy, ancient chamber that felt eerily preserved. The air inside was different, almost thick with forgotten history. "This place is incredible," he whispered, feeling a strange mix of excitement and dread. The walls sparkled with frozen crystals, casting ghostly reflections. The echoing sound seemed to resonate even louder in this chamber, making it clear he was not just chasing shadows. Frozen stalactites hung like ancient sentinels guarding invaluable secrets. Dr. Eriksson marvelled at their size and beauty, each one a testament to the glacier's age.
What have you seen over the centuries?
He thought, his voice a mere whisper amidst the cavern's icy ambience. The stalactites, illuminated by his flashlight, seemed almost alive, their silent watch adding to the room's surreal atmosphere. As he explored further, a peculiar warmth emanated from beneath the ice floor, suggesting geothermal activity below. The warmth was subtle but unmistakable, a stark contrast to the freezing exterior.
This changes everything,
He muttered. He knelt down to feel the warmer ice, trying to comprehend its source. The discovery hinted at deeper mysteries, pushing him to dig further, even as the chilling sounds grew more haunting. Dr. Eriksson's research team received satellite data showing unusual heat signatures coming from the glacier. "This can't be right," Sarah said, studying the readouts. The anomaly was significant, pointing directly to Eriksson's location. The team gathered around, exchanging worried glances. "Has anyone communicated with him yet?" Sarah asked, her concern growing. The data complicated their mission, indicating both urgency and newfound risks. Alarmingly, the data also indicated potential structural weaknesses in the area where Dr. Eriksson had descended. "We need to hurry," Sarah urged, pointing at the screen. The structural issues added a dangerous layer to an already precarious situation. "If he's exploring down there, we can't waste time," another team member said. They quickly formulated a plan, knowing that every moment could be crucial to his survival. They dispatched emergency climbers equipped with satellite navigation to locate and assist him. The team moved with urgency, loading gear and supplies necessary for the rescue. "Let's bring him back safely," Sarah commanded. The climbers double-checked their equipment before heading out into the biting cold. "We're coming for you, Eriksson," Sarah muttered, watching the team disappear into the icy expanse, their mission clear and urgent. Unaware of this, Dr. Eriksson continued exploring, finding remnants of what appeared to be an ancient campsite. There were signs of past human habitation, rusted cooking pots, tattered tents, and makeshift tools. "Who lived here?" he wondered, brushing snow off an old campfire ring. The campsite felt disturbingly recent, almost as if its occupants had just left. The eerie sound persisted, drawing him deeper into the mystery. He stumbled upon old journals encased in ice, but their contents were too fragile to decipher on sight. Carefully, he tried to extract one, but the pages began to crumble.
I need to be more careful,
he muttered, realizing the value of these documents. The journals were delicate evidence of the campsite's history, each one a potential treasure trove of information, if preserved and studied correctly. Dr. Eriksson decided to take the journals back for further investigation. He carefully packed them in his bag, hoping the cold would keep them intact until they reached a more secure environment.
This could be groundbreaking,
he thought, eyes glancing toward the icy corridor he had yet to explore. He knew he had to go back, but the allure of solving the mystery was irresistible. Back in the base camp, the team deciphered the heat signature data, revealing geothermal vents potentially connected to volcanic activity beneath the glacier. Sarah studied the readings intently, pointing out the unusual heat spots to the others. These vents could destabilize the glacier, she explained. The information increased their concern for Dr. Eriksson. They knew they had to get to him before something disastrous happened. Aware of the escalating risks, they hastened to find Dr. Eriksson. Team members hurriedly packed additional safety gear and recalibrated their equipment for the dangerous conditions. "We can't afford any delays," Sarah told the team, her voice urgent. They mapped out the quickest route to the exact location indicated by the heat signatures. "Everyone ready?" Sarah asked, getting nods in return. Time was of the essence as they set off towards the glacier. Underground, Dr. Eriksson found a deep crevasse partially flooded with warm, flowing water, a discovery that contradicted his years of glaciological expertise. "Warm water?" he questioned aloud, baffled. Kneeling down, he dipped his hand in, feeling the unusual warmth. This isn't supposed to happen, he thought. The warm water suggested unknown geothermal activity, completely out of line with his existing research. He cautiously moved along the crevasse, aware that each step uncovered new mysteries. The water's warmth suggested recent shifts in the glacier's stability, raising the stakes of his perilous journey further. The implications of such a shift were worrisome. If the glacier is this unstable, I have to be extremely careful, Dr. Eriksson realized. The eerie sounds grew louder as warm water trickled through the cracks, creating an unsettling symphony. With heightened caution and a sense of urgency, he pressed on, knowing the deeper he ventured, the more risks he faced. Dr. Eriksson realized he needed to proceed with extra caution, facing unknown dangers. The eerie sounds persisted, echoing ominously through the cavern. He tested each foothold carefully, mindful of the unstable ice. "Every step could be my last," he muttered, eyes scanning for any signs of further instability. The path ahead was fraught with potential hazards, but his determination to uncover the glacier's secrets kept him moving forward, one cautious step at a time. The increased warmth made him wary of sudden ice shifts.
I need to stay sharp.
Dr. Eriksson thought, his senses on high alert. The warmth infiltrated the glacier, threatening to weaken the ice around him. Each creak and groan of the glacier sent shivers down his spine. Determined not to become another lost explorer, he advanced cautiously, each step underscoring the fragility of his surroundings. Dr. Eriksson encountered trapped air pockets, causing further instability and echoing eerie sounds.
These pockets are making things worse,
he whispered. Each step threatened to release the trapped air, potentially causing catastrophic shifts in the ice structure. The sounds grew louder, reverberating through the cavern, making it hard to focus. "I need to keep moving," he reminded himself. With each careful step, he navigated the treacherous terrain, aware of the lurking dangers all around. His heart pounded as he carefully crossed ice bridges that could collapse anytime. "One wrong move," he thought, "and it's all over." The bridges were narrow and riddled with cracks. He steadied himself with his ice pick, taking slow, deliberate steps. The eerie sounds persisted, almost mocking his cautious progress. Each creak of the ice beneath him was a chilling reminder of the risks. Determination fueled him, driving him forward despite the constant threat. In one such traversal, he exerted too much force, causing a partial collapse behind him. The sound of shattering ice echoed ominously as chunks fell away, disappearing into the dark abyss below.
That was too close,
he said, catching his breath. He knew he had to be more careful. The near miss was a harsh reminder of the glacier's volatility. Pushing on with renewed caution, he kept an eye out for safer pathways while forging ahead into the unknown. Determined, he pressed on, discovering haphazardly buried artifacts, evidence of past human habitation, although he couldn't determine from which era.
Who were these people?
He wondered, brushing snow off an ancient-looking tool. The presence of these artifacts hinted at a human story lost beneath the ice. The eerie sounds grew louder, resonating around the discovered items. Each new find deepened the mystery, fueling his drive to unravel the story hidden within the glacier. Curiosity and fear gnawed at him equally as he ventured deeper into the glacier's hidden secrets. Every step felt like a gamble. "What am I getting myself into?" he muttered. The cold air bit at his face and the eerie sounds seemed to grow louder, echoing ominously. He shook off his doubts and kept moving forward. The deeper he went, the more the mystery consumed him, pushing fear to the back of his mind. Sensing he was close to a major discovery, he continued pushing forward. The intricate carvings and strange artifacts indicated he was on the brink of something monumental. Just a little further, he whispered. His determination was unwavering, driving him onward despite the growing danger. Each step brought new sounds and sights, reinforcing his belief that he was on the verge of uncovering a hidden truth preserved by the glacier's icy grip. The emergency climbers finally established a communication link with Dr. Eriksson, urging him to surface immediately. "Eriksson, this is base camp. Do you read me?" Sarah's voice crackled through the radio. He paused, pulling the device from his pack.
I hear you, Sarah,
He responded, his voice steady but distracted. "You need to come back now. The conditions are worsening," she insisted. Eriksson glanced around, weighing his options. The sense of urgency in her tone was unmistakable. However, he pleaded for more time, believing he was on the cusp of a monumental discovery. "Sarah, I just need a bit longer," he insisted. The static on the other end filled the silence. "Eriksson, it's too dangerous," she replied, frustration and concern mixing in her voice. "I know, but I'm so close," he persisted. The line crackled again, filled with a tense pause. Finally, she sighed. "All right, but be careful. You have 1 hour." Hesitant but trusting his judgment, they allowed him 1 hour before launching a full rescue. 1 hour, and that's final, Sarah warned.
Understood,
Eriksson replied, his focus already shifting back to the icy maze. He resumed his cautious journey, aware that time was ticking. His heart raced with anticipation. The stakes were higher than ever, but so were the potential rewards. He moved forward, determined to make the most of the precious minutes he had been granted. Navigating further, Dr. Eriksson found a subchamber glowing with bioluminescent bacteria, a surreal, beautiful, almost otherworldly sight. "What on earth?" he marveled, stepping closer to the glowing walls. The light bathed the icy chamber in a soft blue hue, casting long shadows. "This is incredible," he whispered. The bacteria seemed to pulse rhythmically, adding an eerie, mesmerizing quality to the chamber. The discovery was unlike anything he had ever seen, pushing his curiosity to new heights. Suddenly, he was attacked by a sudden rush of air and ice, indicating unstable conditions. The force nearly knocked him off his feet.
Whoa!
He exclaimed, gripping his climbing gear tightly. Shards of ice rained down, some narrowly missing him. He shielded his face, bracing against the onslaught. The turbulent air added an ominous undertone to the already chilling environment. "Stay calm," he muttered to himself, knowing he needed to regain control quickly. He regained his composure and checked his surroundings. The immediate danger seemed to have passed, but the instability was a growing concern.
Okay, focus,
He told himself, surveying the chamber. Ice still hung precariously from the ceiling. Carefully, he inched forward, mindful of potential dangers. The eerie sounds persisted, filling the chamber with an unsettling hum. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he had to proceed with even greater caution. As the echoes faded, Dr. Eriksson noticed the eerie sounds transforming into rhythmic patterns, like a primitive form of communication. "What is this?" he wondered aloud. The rhythmic beats were hauntingly consistent, almost as if trying to relay a message. He strained to listen, hoping to decipher any meaning. The beats grew louder, resonating through the ice. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, he decided to follow the sounds, intrigued by their mysterious origin. With only minutes before his time ran out, he scrambled deeper into the newly revealed subchamber. "Come on, there has to be something here," he muttered, his breath visible in the cold air. The rhythmic sounds grew in intensity, guiding him forward. His flashlight cast eerie shadows on the walls, adding to the sense of urgency. He knew he had little time left, but felt compelled to push on, captivated by the intense sounds and glowing chamber. Here, he found bones that appeared human, but with anomalies suggesting they were ancient, or perhaps not wholly human. The skeletal structures seemed off, with elongated limbs and unusual skull shapes. What kind of creatures were these? He wondered. The sight was both fascinating and chilling, deepening the mystery of the glacier's hidden secrets. With each moment, the sense of otherworldliness grew stronger, urging him to investigate further. These discoveries left him conflicted between awe and dread, contemplating if they were remnants of an unknown civilization. The possibility that an ancient, perhaps even a non-human culture had once thrived deep in this glacier piqued his curiosity and stirred fear. Could this glacier hold the key to a lost world? He wondered. The weight of his findings pressed heavily on him, urging a swift yet careful documentation. He took detailed photographs of the discoveries, meticulously capturing every angle and detail. "I need to document all of this," he muttered, his camera clicking repeatedly. Each shot froze a moment of history, preserving the enigmatic bones and their unusual features. The more he documented, the deeper his sense of responsibility grew. These images would be crucial for unraveling the glacier's mysterious past and validating his unprecedented findings. As time dwindled, he knew he had to head back soon or risk being trapped. The glacier's unstable conditions and the growing sense of danger urged him to make a decision. "I can't push my luck any further," he thought. The rhythmic sounds persisted, creating an eerie backdrop to his urgent calculations. Weighing his curiosity against the pressing need for safety, he understood the critical importance of a timely retreat. The rescue team was nearing his position, using thermal imaging to navigate swiftly through the labyrinthine glacier. "He's close. Keep an eye on the heat markers," Sarah instructed. The team moved with precision, bridging gaps and crossing treacherous ice. "We have to find him soon," one of the climbers urged. Their coordinated efforts brought them closer to Eriksson's location with each passing minute, their hope hinging on finding him safe and sound. At the same time, Dr. Eriksson stumbled upon a preserved, possibly ancient human figure encased in a thin layer of ice at the chamber's far end.
What have we here?
He whispered, approaching the figure. The eerie light illuminated the frozen visage, casting haunting shadows. Its features were serene, eyes closed as if in eternal slumber. The discovery was both intriguing and unsettling, hinting at further mysteries locked within the icy depths. The figure's attire was unlike anything he had seen, and around its neck hung a peculiar pendant. "This is incredible," he thought, examining the ornament closely. Its intricate design and ancient runes suggested a significance far beyond mere decoration.
Who were you?
He wondered aloud, eyes fixed on the pendant. The artifact lent a sense of urgency to his quest, as if unlocking its secrets could explain the glacier's hidden history. Desperation to uncover its identity surged through him. His mind raced with questions. Was this figure a scientist, an explorer, or something else? The pendant seemed to hold the key. He felt an overwhelming urge to free it from the icy grasp. "I have to know," he muttered, his hands trembling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The mystery of the pendant consumed his thoughts, propelling him into action. Just as the chamber began to tremble ominously, signaling imminent structural failure, he knew he had to make a quick decision. Ice and snow started to fall around him. "I need to act fast," he realized. The stability of the chamber was deteriorating rapidly. He glanced at the pendant, then back at the exit. This could be my only chance, he thought, torn between retreat and revelation. The glacier's secrets were within reach. He decided to carefully retrieve the pendant before making his escape. "Steady now," he whispered, chipping away at the ice encasing it. Each motion was precise, minimizing the risk of further destabilizing the chamber. Finally, the pendant came free, glinting in the dim light. "Got it," Eriksson said, slipping it into his pack. With the artifact secured, he turned towards the entrance, his heart racing against time. He had to get out, now. In a final, frantic effort, Dr. Eriksson managed to free the pendant with ancient runes etched into its surface from the figure. The runes were peculiar, unlike any language he had ever encountered.
What could this mean?
He pondered. The intricate carvings on the pendant suggested a significance beyond mere decoration. Clutching the artifact, he felt a surge of urgency and curiosity. The chamber continued to tremble, reminding him that time was of the essence. As his rescue team reached him, he realized the figure bore a striking resemblance to himself. Eriksson paused, staring at the frozen visage that mirrored his own features.
Could it be?
He mumbled, shock and disbelief crashing over him. The resemblance was uncanny, down to the slightest detail.
What are the odds?
He thought, his mind racing. The eerie similarity deepened the mystery, prompting more questions than answers as the rescue team hurried towards him. The ancient pendant held a microchip that, when analysed, revealed an astonishing secret. Back at base camp, the scientists gathered around, eagerly awaiting the data. "What does it say?" Sarah asked, her voice full of anticipation. The readings from the microchip began to display on the screen. "This can't be right!" one of the technicians gasped. The data was unlike anything they had expected. Tension filled the air as they realized the gravity of what they were uncovering. It was a message from the future, warning of the glacier's imminent collapse due to human actions. The words on the screen were clear and urgent. "If this is true, we need to act immediately," Sarah said, her eyes wide with concern. The team exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the discovery sinking in. "This changes everything," another scientist remarked. The message underscored the critical need for immediate intervention to prevent unprecedented disaster. This revelation suggested a time traveler had left the message to alter the course of history. "A time traveler? Here?" someone murmured in disbelief. The concept was mind-boggling, yet the evidence was irrefutable. The pendant, the message, the figure resembling Dr. Eriksson, all pointed to a deliberate attempt to communicate across time. "We have to share this with the world," Sarah declared. The urgency of their mission intensified, knowing the future itself was at stake. Dr. Eriksson knew he had to share this information for the sake of humanity's future. "We need to make sure everyone understands the implications," he insisted, as the team began preparing their findings for dissemination. The realization of their role in potentially altering the future weighed heavily on them. "Every second counts," he thought, pushing the urgency of their mission. Their goal was clear: inform the world and initiate changes to prevent ecological disaster. With the pendant secured and the message delivered, their priority was getting everyone out safely. The icy expanse echoed with the hum of machinery and the determined strides of rescuers. Eriksson felt a mix of relief and anxiety, knowing their discovery was just the beginning of a monumental task. Back at base camp, scientists began analysing the pendant's microchip data in detail. Computers hummed and screens flickered with lines of code and deciphered messages. "We need to understand every aspect of this," one of the lead scientists urged. The team worked tirelessly, piecing together the time traveler's warning. "This data could change everything we know," Sarah remarked. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and determination to decode the future's urgent plea for change. They released the findings to the global scientific community, urging immediate action to prevent glacier collapse. News of the discovery quickly spread, capturing the attention of scientists, policymakers, and the public.
"We must act now,"
Eriksson addressed in a virtual conference. His message was clear: the time traveler's warning could not be ignored. Urged by the compelling evidence, governments and scientists began to coordinate global efforts aimed at stabilizing the glacier and averting disaster. Dr. Eriksson's discovery led to groundbreaking research and policy changes, hopefully averting the foretold disaster. "We are seeing unprecedented cooperation among nations," Sarah noted. Research grants were approved, conservation laws were enacted, and new technologies were developed to monitor and protect glaciers globally.
"This is just the beginning,"
Eriksson said. His eyes were filled with a mix of hope and determination. The mission to secure the future had only just begun, but the first steps had been taken.